Hey, welcome back to another episode of Simple Truth Television. It's now May 20th, 2023. So most of you probably already heard the news. Jim Brown, the legendary fullback for the Cleveland Browns, passed away on the 18th of May at the age of 87. And they're saying that he died from natural causes. And there's a lot of interesting things about his death. But one of the things that stands out the most to me is this right here. We're going to go back to all the other notes, but this is what really caught my eye. So I was reading an article. Let me go back. Let me just show you guys the article that I was reading. So I came across this article that says Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Floyd Little were honored during the NC State game. And this article came out on October 15th, 2022. So the University of Syracuse, they honored Jim Brown, who went to Syracuse. They also honored Ernie Davis and Floyd Little during the halftime show. Now, Ernie Davis, he passed away in 1963, 60 years ago. And I remember Floyd Little's death because I covered his death back on New Year's Day back in 2021. And I think he died from cancer, if I remember correctly. So when I was reading this article, I looked up Ernie Davis. I never really heard of him because he died a long time ago in 1963. So when I looked up his date of death, and look at this, you guys. Ernie Davis, he passed away on May 18th, 1963. The same day that Jim Brown died. Jim Brown died on the 60th year anniversary of Ernie Davis. And then I came to find out that these two men, they have a lot of history. There's an article that says that Jim Brown was actually the person who scouted Ernie Davis to go to Syracuse. And then I also found out that Ernie Davis, he broke a lot of Jim Brown's records at Syracuse. Both of these men, not only did they die the same day, but they also both went to Syracuse, and they also both were drafted by. I gotta make sure if Jim Brown was drafted by the Cleveland Browns, but Ernie Davis, he was drafted by the Washington Redskins, and then the Redskins they traded him right away to Cleveland Browns, and then I guess he caught leukemia a year after the draft and passed away, so he never got to really play an NFL game. But he was officially a Cleveland Brown, even though he didn't play for him. So think about it. They both went to Syracuse. They both died on May 18th, and they were both part of the Cleveland Brown organization. And they both happened to die on the same day. And like I said, Ernie Davis, he broke a lot of Jim Brown's records. He also won the Heisman, and he also won the only championship for Syracuse. So, it looks like he was on his way to being a legendary football player as well in the NFL, but he never got to play because his life got cut short at the age of 23 when he died from leukemia, which is strange because think about it. He died at the age of 23, and then guess who died in the year 23? Jim Brown, on the same day as him. I have a video that I found of Jim Brown actually speaking about Ernie Davis, which I'm going to play. It's like 20 seconds, and then we'll talk about the rest of the numbers, like how Jim Brown is dead on his 91st day of his age, a number that connects to the Browns. And something else that I noticed that is very strange. All three of those players, Ernie Davis, Jim Brown, and Floyd Little, who all went to Syracuse, were all running backs. That's another coincidence. They were all running backs as well. They all wore the number 44 for that team. This is Floyd Little right here, who died on January 1st, 2021 from cancer. Think about it, number 44 there from cancer. When cancer is 44, like chemo and the word kill. And this is Ernie Davis, who died at the age of 23 from leukemia, who also wore the number 44 for the Syracuse Orangemen. And, of course, Jim Brown also wore the number 44. And that number has a lot to do with black history. Think about MLK, who died on April 4th. Malcolm X died on the day with 44 numerology. People like Barack Obama, who was number 44 and became president 44 years after the Civil Rights Act was established. Ran on hope, which equals 44. The phrase African American also has Gematria 44. And like I said, Jim Brown died on the 60th year anniversary since the demise of Ernie Davis. And notice what orange equals in Gematria. Both of these men played for the Syracuse Orange. Right? The color orange, you could say, the color of the name orange Had Gematria of 60. And notice it's almost perfect with the N word, right? And notice Orange is also 33. Ernie Davis died on the day with 33 numerology. And Mr. Jim Brown, who passed away a couple of days ago, he died on the day with 30 numerology. But let me just go back to the video, and then we'll talk about the rest of this stuff. I want you guys to listen to Jim Brown's opinion on Ernie Davis's career.
Ernie came after me, and I basically caught hell at Syracuse. And then when he came in, it was a little easier. And the results were fantastic because I was not able to win the Heisman Trophy. I might not have won it anyway, but it was already proclaimed that African Americans could not win that particular award. Well, he did win it.
Davis did manage to get the Heisman Trophy in 1961, and Brown says that he was much more of a universal figure, much like presidential candidate Barack Obama.
See, the great thing about Ernie is that in a small way, he did what Obama's doing now. He brought people together. He had that kind of spirit. So a lot of white folks loved Ernie, and black folks loved him too, and he was not an Uncle Tom. So that's a difficult thing to possess.
While some consider Jim Brown to be the greatest running back of all time, Davis was certainly on the way to greatness when 1 year after he became the first African-American man to win the Heisman, he was diagnosed with leukemia and died shortly thereafter.
More than just running a ball.
I'm playing. You hear me?
In a time of change.
This is not just a game. We're fighting something else.
I mean, you guys got to think about, ask yourself, what are the odds that these two men who have so much history together, right, both legendary players for the same school, both honored on the same day on October 15th, they just happen to die on the same day. May 18th will forever be remembered as the day that Ernie Davis and Jim Brown both died. I mean, this is what proves that these people, not only are the careers of these players scripted, I mean, what are the odds that they all end up, so associated with each other? It's like the same school and stuff, but it also proves that they're being murdered. I mean, what are the odds they both die on the same day, you guys? Come on. But like I said, they saying that Jim Brown, he died from natural causes, and notice his date of birth is February 17th, 1936, and he's dead on his 91st day of his age. Died 2 days ago on May 18th. And notice in Gematria, Browns equals 91. And he died at the age of 87, right? He was born, if you notice here, his birth name is James Nathaniel Brown. The name James is 87, like how he died at the age of 87. Should remind you of LeBron James, who also, big number with LeBron James, 87. And it's funny because on May 18th, LeBron James lost to the Denver Nuggets, and there's probably synced up with him with LeBron. Think about it. Before LeBron James was the man in Cleveland, Jim Brown was the man in Cleveland. So I'm pretty sure there's a deeper connection with LeBron James in the playoffs right now and the death of Jim Brown. I mean, he died right during the playoffs. So, but I think this ritual is more synced up with Ernie Davis. I mean, if you're trying to show this information to somebody that's new or somebody who's on the fence, I think this is a great example. I mean, if a person is familiar with football, ask them what are the odds that Jim Brown and Ernie Davis, two players who have a lot of history together, who both went to the same school and both ended up playing. I mean, Ernie Davis didn't play for the Browns, but they both ended up on the franchise for the Cleveland Browns. They were both players for that team, even though Ernie Davis didn't get to play because of his early demise. But they end up dying on the same day. They both played for the same school in college, and they both ended up on the same team, basically, and then in the NFL. And they happened to die on May 18th, both of them. You show that to somebody who's new to the work, they should definitely see something else strange with that, That's like I mean, we have so many other examples, like Kobe Bryant dying a day after LeBron James surpasses him on the all-time scoring list, and people still find that like, oh, that's a coincidence. So I mean, I know this stuff is hard because it's like there's nothing we can show people really. If they don't want to see it, they're not gonna see it. The upcoming NFL season, it starts on September 7th, and Jim Brown died exactly 112 days before the start of the NFL season. Notice in Gematria, Jim Brown equals 112 like Chiefs. The Chiefs play the Detroit Lions that day. You should definitely 7. Even though he died on the 18th, they announced his death on the 19th. The following day, on the day with 67 numerology, we know that to be the blood sacrifice number. And I think the reason they did that is because going back to what I was saying about Ernie Davis, who died in the year 63, that was a day with 86 in numerology, right? 5 plus 18 plus 63. And Gematria, blood sacrifice, it equals 67 and 86. So that's probably why they waited until the 19th to announce Jim Brown's death. And like I said, they both died 60 years apart. Orange is 60, like the N-word. And Ernie Davis also died on the day with 46 numerology, and the name Ernest Davis equals 46, like sacrifice. And these are the stats of both of these men. I mean, looking at the numbers of Ernie Davis, he really outplayed Jim Brown. And you guys, I don't know if you guys can see this, but in 1955, notice Jim Brown's stats. He had 121 carries, and notice how many rushing yards he had. He had 666. How about that? Jim Brown had 666 rushing yards in 1955. But looking at these 3 years, like Jim Brown said, Ernest Davis came after him, right? But to me, I think Ernie Davis was a way better player. I mean, looking at the numbers, right? Not only did he win the Heisman, he also won a championship with the Orangemen, and he just had way better numbers. I mean, every year, look at this. In 1959, he had 686 yards compared to 439. Right, so his first year in Syracuse, he had way more rushing yards than Jim Brown's first year. Also, in the second year, he had 877. Jim Brown only had 666. And in his final year in 61, that was the year. Well, that year he had less rushing yards than Jim Brown. Jim Brown's last year he had 986. But to me, I think Ernie Davis had a way better career as a Syracuse running back. But I think again, this is all this stuff is scripted. All this stuff is done on purpose. These two players, I'm pretty sure that they whoever's controlling all this stuff knew that they was gonna murder these two men on the same day, and that's why they had so much parallels during their careers. And then both of them dying on 60 years apart. Come on. But just going back with Floyd Little, Jim Brown, and Ernie Brown. I wrote Ernie Brown. It's Ernie Davis, excuse me. I wrote Ernie Brown here. The number 44, like I said, it connects to black history, right? MLK, write out 4-4. Malcolm X dead on the day with 44 numerology. The person that supposedly killed Malcolm X got 44 years in prison. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they announced Jim Brown's death on Malcolm X's birthday. How about that? And you heard what Jim Brown said. He said Ernie Davis was like Barack Obama, number 44. So yeah, this is what they're doing. They're scripting the careers of these players, and then eventually they're murdering them. Two players with such high impact and end up dying on the same day. Crazy. And I'm curious to see what Syracuse does this year. I think this is probably a ritual connected to Syracuse's upcoming football season. We shall see. But yeah, that's no coincidence, you guys. And this stuff goes on all the time. Let's see. I think I covered most of it. Let's see. So this was the honorary. Let's see what this article says. The trinity of legendary Syracuse running backs have finally been given a Ring of Honor enrichment. Enshrinement, excuse me. The families of Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, and Floyd Little were in attendance as Syracuse University honored the trio of running backs during the halftime of Saturday's game. Syracuse became 6-0 on this day. It's like 60, like orange equals 60, like how both of them men, both Ernie and Jim, both died 6 years apart. Each family received a Ring of Honor jacket at a ceremony honoring the running backs last night at halftime of Saturday's game. Family members were given a framed image of a replica Ring of Honor ring. Brown's children, Little's wife, and Davis's cousin were in attendance to honor the legends. Right, and then it goes into their stats. Brown played for Syracuse from 1954 to 1956, and so on. Brown, the only honorary still living, did not attend but appeared in a video thanking Syracuse. Let me see something real quick. Syracuse football coach Tino Barbers, who's 60. July 19th. Let's see. Let me take a look at something real quick. I don't think this man's death is synced up with the Browns. I could be mistaken about that. Something has me thinking that it's probably more synced up with the Syracuse Orange. But it could mean that the Cleveland Browns have a good year. I mean, we do see that a lot. Former NFL players died and that team does good. Like the Chiefs, for example. 7/19. He's dead. Jim Brown died 62 days. Baber's birthday, the football coach of the Syracuse Orange. Sacrifice equals 62. So yeah, we're gonna keep an eye on Syracuse this year, see what's going on with them, and also the Cleveland Browns. Dino Babers is 64 and 44. He has the kill numbers in his name. And also, he died on the day leaving 227 days left in the year, the 49th prime. NFL equals 49. NFL is also 66 and George Gematria. Oh yeah, so this is the photo of the day that all three men were honored during the halftime show. The family members were at the Ernie Davis Legends Field. Is that what it's called now? Let me see. Ernie Davis Legends Field. Oh, look at that. So Syracuse named their field Ernie Davis Legends Field. Isn't that something? Davis came after Jim Brown and his number 44. See? I know Jim Brown feels a way about all that stuff. I can hear it in his tone. Jim Brown was way before him, and then the guy gets all the tributes. So, introducing Legends Field at the Carrier Dome. 191 stands out of 43rd prime. Oh, Chadwick Boseman played Floyd Little, huh? That's interesting. So Rob Brown played Ernie Davis. I wonder if Jim Brown was in this film, or at least somebody playing as Jim Brown. So the movie's called The Express. This was a movie about Ernie Davis. Let me take a look at this real quick. It's funny. It has that 139 and has that 49 as well. The 139. They announced Jim Brown's death on the 139th day of the year. The Express release date. September 12th, 2008. Isn't that something? They had a guy named Rob Brown play Ernie Davis. Huh? Jim Brown, Rob Brown. Birthday is March 11th. The Express. Yep, there it is, right? Born into poverty, Ernie Davis overcomes many obstacles to get into Syracuse University's football program. Under the guidance of coach Ben Schwartzwalder, whatever his name is, Davis becomes one of the school's best players, even surpassing Jim Brown's achievements. In 1961, Davis becomes the first black player to win the Heisman Trophy. But there is one more obstacle in his life that he must overcome. And I think that was winning the championship, which he did in 1959. Something that Jim Brown wasn't able to do. So yeah, this is definitely a movie that I'm gonna watch. See if I can learn some more about these two men, Jim Brown and Ernie Davis. Because, that's why Jim Brown is dead on May 18th. It's all synced up with Ernie Davis, They could have killed him any other day, but they chose May 18th. The Express, number 44. Okay, so Jim Brown is in the film. Okay, so this is definitely, so Darren Henson played Jim Brown. So this was Jim Brown in the film. Hey, Jim Brown, he died 13 days after this man's birthday. Yeah, I'm gonna watch this film. Actually, I'm gonna watch it now. I'm not even that tired. The Express. So those of you at home who want to watch this film, watch it because it's gonna show you the deeper connection between these two players and why they're dead on the same day. I mean, the odds of it. I mean, it's 365 days in a year for you to die on the same. I mean, come on, it's one out of 365. The odds is. We can look it up and see what are the odds. What are the odds? Actually, a better question is, what percentage is 1 out of 365? So this is the odds of him dying on the same day as Ernie Davis. Jim Brown had a 0.2% chance of dying on the same day as the guy who surpassed him in all the records and broke all of his records at Syracuse. The Express, the Ernie Davis story. All right, so let me just see something. How long is this film? Came out on September 12th. See how many days from his birthday? September 12th. Nine 12. What year was that? 2008. It came out on the day with 49 numerology, which is interesting. 12, 14. 93 days before Ernie Davis' birthday. Yep. Let me see if I can look at the chat, see what you guys think about this. Shout out to Charles Wass, man. What's going on, my brother? Thank you guys for staying up late with me tonight. I don't be having time in the daytime to do videos anymore. So April says that Jim Brown had a lot of films. I looked that up earlier. I didn't see. Oh yeah, I think he was in Mars Attack. I do remember that. Yeah, he was an actor. Yeah, he was. I remember he was in Mars Attack. I remember that. Oh yeah, so he was an actor. Oh, he was an actor on the football field as well. So makes sense. Jim Brown's. Yeah, he had a lot of movies. Wow. Okay. Wow. Guy had a lot of films. It makes sense, these actors, football players. It's all the same profession. That's why That's why you see Jordan in Space Jam, LeBron in Space Jam. It's the same profession. They're just actors on the field. Shout out to Ryan. What's going on, my brother? Yeah, Jim. He recruited Ernie to Syracuse. What are the odds of that? And then the guy ends up breaking all your records. Should have kept your mouth shut. But I'll leave it there. If you guys find anything else, please leave a comment under this video, so that way if any new viewers while watching this video, they can read the comment section and learn from your comment. I'm pretty sure that this ritual is a lot deeper than what I'm covering in this video. And guys at home who are veterans of the work, you can definitely help out, because this video is gonna be up, and so hopefully somebody will come across it who is looking for answers into the Jim Brown death and can learn what's really going on. Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, dead on May 18th. And just think about it. That day is also written 18/5, and we know how important 185 is to mathematics and Catholicism and secret societies. That number's huge. Pretty sure I wrote it down somewhere. Here it is. So May 18th, the day that Jim Brown passed away, is written 18/5 in Gematria. Mathematics equals 185, like Catholicism and the term secret society. So, a very important date for the Catholic Church, the Jesuit Order, and the NFL. It's the date leaving 227 days left in the year. The 49th prime. Just pull up the date calculator, and I think we can probably end it there. I'm gonna turn on the movie The Express and see what else I find in that film. There it is. All right. So thanks everybody for tuning in. You guys enjoy the rest of your nights. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you next time. Rest in peace to Jim Brown and Ernie Davis.